Well, hey there, Mama, and welcome to the very first episode of the Moms Overcoming Overwhelm podcast. Yay! I'm Emily McDermott. I'm so happy you're here with me today. In this podcast, we are going to talk about practical and tactical tips for overcoming overwhelm by decluttering your home, head, and heart. So, if you are looking for that, my friend, you are in the right place. In today's episode, I'm going to take just a moment to introduce myself and tell you a little bit about my story, specifically how decluttering and simplifying has really saved my motherhood, my marriage, and my mental health since I started on this journey in 2014. And I'm also going to let you know what to expect from our journey together on the podcast, what you can expect from me as your decluttering coach, and what I expect from you if you're ready to kick overwhelm to the curb. Thank you so much for being here. Okay, let's dive in. Hey there, Mama. Are you tired of all the stuff crowding your home, calendar, and mind? Do you wish you could say goodbye to the endless to-do list running around in your head while you're running around in the middle of the mess? Want to declutter but don't know where to start? Are your dreams buried under piles of toys and laundry? Welcome. This is the Moms Overcoming Overwhelm podcast, where you will find proven and practical solutions to declutter your home, head, and heart. If you're ready to reclaim your precious resources of time, energy, attention, and focus, and create the life you want on your terms, this podcast is for you. Hi, I'm Emily, a wife, boy mom, and simplicity seeker. I struggled to get pregnant and felt completely overwhelmed until I discovered decluttering could create the physical and emotional space I needed to become a mom. Now, 2 kids later, I've transformed my life in motherhood by developing simple systems around decluttering, capsule wardrobes, kids stuff, cleaning and tidying, meal planning, time management, and more, and I can't wait to share them with you. If you're ready to reclaim the time and energy you crave, be present with your kids, and finally enjoy the life and motherhood you so deserve, let's kick overwhelm to the curb, shall we? Grab your lukewarm coffee, your notebook and pen, and clear off some counter space. Let's do this. So my journey to overcoming overwhelm began way back when I was growing up. I was always a type A personality, working hard in school, getting those A's, and always figured, well, if I work hard, I can get the outcome that I desire. What I found out is in life, that's not always the case. And I married my husband, Pat, in 2008, and always assumed, okay, well, you get married and then you have a baby, right? And we found out we were unexpectedly pregnant in the summer of 2013, which was very exciting. We were already picking out names when, unfortunately, the next day I suffered an early miscarriage. It was very painful, very confusing. And what was even more confusing is that when we were trying to get pregnant again, it wasn't happening for us. Month after month, we kept getting those negative results. Finally, we started working with a fertility clinic, and we were diagnosed with unexplained infertility. And unexplained infertility pretty much means there's nothing wrong with you, you just have a hard time getting pregnant. So here I was working full time, overwhelmed with this desire to have a baby, and also overwhelmed by the stuff surrounding me, the commitments that were drowning me. And then I was starting to go through an IVF protocol where I was injecting myself daily, following this strict regimen, getting blood drawn almost every day, and also trying to be hopeful but not too hopeful throughout this whole process. So this is kind of where we set the scene. And in December 2014, I joined a habits program from someone named Leo Babauta. He's at Zen Habits if you want to look him up. But he had a program called Sea Change Habits. And I've always been interested in habits. We'll be talking about that a lot on the podcast. But one of the resources that was provided in this Sea Change Habits program was some resources from the minimalists, specifically 2 books that they wrote. One is called Everything That Remains, and the other is Minimalism, Live a Meaningful Life. And I would recommend both if you were interested in kind of finding out a little bit more about minimalism and that sort of thing. But what I realized was that maybe it was the extra stuff and saying yes to everything and feeling like I always had to be on and doing things all the time that was maybe contributing to this infertility. And as I learned more, I realized that decluttering my home, but also those other important components of decluttering my head and my heart, was going to allow me to make the physical and emotional space I needed in order to welcome a baby. And luckily, we were able to conceive. Our first son, Andrew, was born in 2016. And then there was this whole other season of overwhelm being a mom of a newborn, as I'm sure many of you can relate to as well. I was glad that I had started simplifying in advance, but what I found after the birth of Andrew, and then also when we found out unexpectedly we were pregnant with our second child and we're going to have 2 under 2, was that I really needed to simplify all of the decisions that were being made and really understand and focus on what matters. So when we are looking at the types of things we're going to be talking about in this podcast, I really want to have the foundation of what matters to you, because it's going to be different for everyone. But comparison is so incredibly easy as a mom, and we're always going to bring it back to the things that matter to you most. Then we will start eliminating what doesn't matter to you, and eventually automating the rest with our habits and routines and so forth. So that's a little bit about me and my story, why I'm so passionate about this. I write about these topics. I speak to other moms in moms groups about this, and now I'm so excited to be sharing some of these tips and ideas with you. So I mentioned at the beginning expectations, right? What you can expect from me is that I am going to be doing 1 podcast a week. That's going to be coming out on Thursday. I'm going to try to keep them short, 15 minutes or less, because I know that you are overwhelmed, right? That's why you're here. And I also want to give you some practical and tactical things that you can start implementing right away to help make you feel better now, because I know that that is what you need. And what I expect from you is that you, of course, listen. If you want to listen to me at a quicker speed, that's perfectly fine. But also keep a little notebook or your notes app on your phone nearby so that you can take some notes, because there are always going to be takeaways and things that I would love for you to test out and experiment with in your own life to see how we can work together to declutter your home, head, and heart. So, with that in mind, thank you so much again for listening, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. Hey Mama, thanks so much for joining me today on the Moms Overcoming Overwhelm podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode and learned something new, could you do me a big favor and screenshot today's episode and share it to your Instagram stories? You can tag me at Simple by Emmy. That's Simple by EMMY. That way more mamas just like you can find out about the podcast, and we can all work together to declutter our homes, heads, and hearts. Thanks so much, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Bye.